Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. The Pro Bowl games, the skills competition has kicked off, and Nick Bosa and his brother had a quad off. Speed walking, pretty funny stuff. Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Fred Warner there. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was doing some other stuff tonight, but I definitely will check that out. Meanwhile, as we approach free agency and all the things that kind of enables, what that discusses or what that makes us discuss. Obviously, a focus of the 49ers should be the offensive line. So PFF does a ranking of all the different positions. So I'm going to go through a lot of them, but I'm going to take one position a day. Today, we're going to talk about centers because I think we've all seen Jake Brendel kind of go through the ups and downs, and he really did not have a good season last year. Jake Brendel is under contract through the 2026 season. 4 years, $16 million contract, 16.5 million. It's really not that big of a contract if you think about it, considering all the other players that are making a ton of money. $16.5 million. I mean, I would take $16.5 million, but Jake Brendel is under contract. He signed it before the 2023 season, 4 years, $16.5 million. So if the 49ers were to move on from Jake Brendel or at least bring in some competition for him, or, maybe he stays on as a backup because we saw what happened at the end of the 2024 season. They ran out of offensive linemen. Maybe you don't cut Jake Brendel or release him, but maybe you go after one of the top guys that's in free agency and, make him earn it. Make him earn it. So, all right. So PFF has three centers in the top 100 for their free agency rankings as of right now. Their number three center out of all the players that we've got is Coleman Shelton from the Chicago Bears. They said Shelton catches flack for the occasional tough rep where he can lose a bull rush, but over the course of the full 2024 season, he provided stability and guidance for rookie Caleb Williams. While doing a lot of the work pre-snap and barely missing a play all year, for 2 years in a row, Shelton has almost never come off the field. He has some positional flexibility between the tackles as well. All admirable traits in a free agent offensive lineman. So he's ranked 100 out of 100 players of free agents. And obviously there's a lot more free agents than that, but he is their third ranked center. All right. Number two, Ryan Kelly from the Indianapolis Colts. Ryan Kelly is potentially mulling retirement after a decorated career with the Colts, but if he returns in 2025, he offers a savvy veteran center that could potentially help bring along a young quarterback. On the flip side, after the annual turnover at the quarterback position Kelly dealt with throughout his entire tenure in Indianapolis, perhaps he'd like the idea of pairing up with a veteran quarterback that he can work in tandem with to set protections and lead an offensive line unit. He's ranked number 81. Sounds like he might want the stability of what the 49ers have. Injuries have hampered Kelly over the last two seasons. He underwent knee surgery halfway through the 2024 campaign, which is certainly worth monitoring for prospective teams looking to bring him aboard. Maybe he's a guy that is a little less expensive. That's their number two ranked center. Their number one ranked center is ranked number 22 overall, and that's Drew Dahlman from the Atlanta Falcons. There aren't many long-term answers in free agency at center, which will make Dahlman the primary beneficiary if he reaches the open market. It's if. Any team that deploys an outside zone rushing scheme, check, will be all over the former fourth round pick. Dahlman has room to grow as a pass protector, but is one of the best run blocking centers in the NFL and will advance the continued growth of the interior of the offensive line market after Kansas City Chiefs center Creed Humphrey finally reset the market. So those are your three centers. And I do think the 49ers do need to shore up both offensive lines, especially in the center. I think Trent Williams comes back healthy. I know he's a little bit older, but I think half of a season off for him, or maybe not half a season, but a lot of the season off for him is going to help him be healthy coming back. He has had ankle issues in the past, but I know Trent Williams wants to come back. He's not going to go out that way. So I think with Trent Williams in there, Dominic Pooney at guard, and a solid center, I think they're going to do much better protecting Brock Purdy. Hopefully, Brock Purdy won't be running for his life like he was in 2024. Granted, yes, everybody loves the fact that he can extend plays and that he can make passes on the run and have less time to throw the ball. If needed, he can get rid of it, or if he needs to hold on to it longer, he can. But also, Brock Purdy is 6 feet tall at best. So when he's trying to throw center, he's had a hard time finding those guys across the center. Yes, George Kittle runs across the center, but it's that intermediate pass, which has been his sweet spot, kind of over the center, over the offensive line. He's had passes batted down. He's had kind of misfires. Generally, he's very good from that 10 to 19 yard mark, that distance from the line of scrimmage. Brock Purdy is excellent. But having a little bit more protection and ability to throw and stay put in the center of the pocket will only help this offense be more productive. Now, there are a ton of different factors in why the 49ers offense will be better in 2025. One of them is Christian McCaffrey being healthy. One of them is Trent Williams being healthy. Brandon Ayuk, yes, you are going to count on him to come back at some point, but don't forget, he tore his ACL in week 6. He had a tough time getting going because he held out of training camp. I don't think he's going to be ready for week 1, but you never know. He was in the locker room shooting jumpers on the basketball hoop right there while we were doing interviews at the end of the season. So he is getting air off the ground. And that was one of the things that we saw with Christian McCaffrey. And when he was starting to feel better, he was shooting jumpers from the corner of the locker room. There's a basketball net set up. And for him to be getting air off the ground, I think that's a great sign for Brandon Ayuk. It was a really funny story. So Brandon Ayuk was in the locker room, and we didn't get to interview him because he's on the injured reserve list. So Brandon Ayuk was shooting jumpers, and Matt Barrows and Cam Inman kind of walked up to him. And Matt Barrows goes, "Oh, did you have your surgery?" And he's like, "No, I didn't have it." And he's like, What do you mean you didn't have your surgery?" He's like, "No, I didn't have it. I'm not gonna have it. It's feeling much better on its own. I might have it later." And Matt Barrows could not wrap his head around what was going on. And finally, Brandon Ayuk said, "No, just kidding. I had the surgery a little while ago." So he's obviously feeling better. He hasn't posted any videos of him working out. I don't expect him to, but he might during the offseason. Um, so we'll see what happens. But Ricky Pearsall will be having a full offseason. That's going to help. JP Mason, he's a restricted free agent. I do think they bring him back. Isaac Arenda will have more time. Hopefully, he won't have the hamstring injury that hampered him during the offseason. I just think that having the extra time off, the playoffs, getting a fresh start for the 2025 season is going to be a huge help. And I think one of those things that they need to do is replenish the offensive line. Aaron Banks is not going to be back at left guard. Yes, Dominic Puni will be on the right side, but they need to get that guard center situation solidified so they can be more productive on the offense. Um, I asked, I was talking to George Kittle at one point about Weston Richburg, who unfortunately had the patellar tendon injury and was never, retired after that. But George Kittle, man, he was like, nothing against Jake, but Weston Richburg was one of the best, smartest, fastest centers he's ever worked with. It's really kind of a bummer that he didn't get to play longer because he was great for the offense. So, and they spent a little bit of money on him. That's kind of what happens. You got to, you pay for what you get. So, if the 49ers want more production on the offensive line, product for the offense, more production for the offense, it's going to start on the offensive line. Let me get that out right. Words are difficult today. So that's what I think they need to do. Those 3 centers are options for them in free agency. Again, that's Drew Dahlman, who's with the Atlanta Falcons, ranked number 22 out of 100. Ryan Kelly, ranked 81 out of 100. He's with the Indianapolis Colts. And Coleman Shelton, Chicago Bears. They might want to lock him up. The Chicago Bears might want to, just because they want some consistency for Caleb Williams. But we'll see what happens. Free agency is just around the corner. I will be headed to Orlando for the Pro Bowl this weekend, and I'll give you more updates from there as well. I'll hopefully be talking to George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa. Hope you guys are well.